story begins with Los Angeles Police Department's Officer Jake Hoyt, who has applied to the Narcotics Division. He sees it as a good way to get promoted quickly and become a detective. For his evaluation, he is placed under the guidance of an experienced but unpredictable narcotics officer, Detective Alonzo Harris. From the very start, it becomes clear to Hoyt that Alonzo does not like following protocols. Their day begins with a sting operation where they catch some college students buying cannabis from an informant. After confiscating the drugs from them, Alonzo pushes Jake to smoke it. He tells Jack that to be a good anti-drug cop, he must understand and even love drugs. Jake refuses at first for ethical reasons, saying he joined the police to stop drug crimes, not to use them. But Alonzo becomes aggressive by his reaction. He hits the brakes hard, stopping the car in the middle of the road. He calls Jack weak and even pulls out a gun and forces Jake to take a puff. So, after some inner struggle, Jack finally gives in. Since Jack has never smoked before, he coughs a lot. Alonzo stays calm and tells Jack to keep going and be strong. Car horns blare as Alonzo's car blocks the road, but he doesn't care. Instead, he casually pulls out his gun and points it at the driver who won't stop beeping. To make Alonzo pleased, Jack continues smoking. Alonzo finally gets satisfied and starts the car again, moving from there. After some time, Jack starts feeling dizzy. He remembers that he once smoked marijuana in high school, but he never mentioned that in his job application. Then, Alonzo tells Jack that the cannabis was laced with phencyclidine. Jack gets furious and shocked as he remembers that today he has a drug test, and phencyclidine will definitely show up in a urine test. But Alonzo reminds Jack that no one forced him to take the drug. It was his own decision. Jack never thought his first day on the job would also be the day his dream ends. While Jake is still high from the drug, they visit Roger, a retired narcotics officer. Roger is a trusted informant of Alonzo, a member of the Russian gang. They have been working together for many years and have built a strong, close-knit partnership. The visit seems casual, with the three of them chatting about how Alonzo's views about the world have changed over time. At one point, he talks about a problem Alonzo had during a recent trip to Las Vegas, hinting that Alonzo may be in serious trouble. When Roger sees Jack in a dizzy and confused state, he immediately understands what happened. He knows that Alonzo must have forced Jack to use drugs. Roger decides to lighten the mood with a joke, but Jack does not like the joke and reacts in a serious way. Roger sees a reflection of young Alonzo in Jack, full of passion and strong ideals. Before leaving, Alonzo casually asks Roger about his future plans. Roger explains that he plans to work for one more year, save a little more money, and then retire. After this, Alonzo and Jake head back out on patrol. As they drive, Jake spots something happening in a nearby alley. Two drug addicts are attacking a young girl. Before the car even stops fully, Jack, still affected by phencyclidine, opens the door and rushes out. Meanwhile, Alonzo tries to stop him. Jake runs across the busy road, holding his gun, disturbing the whole traffic. He finally reaches the crime scene and manages to take down both attackers quickly. Alonzo watches him from some distance and lets him handle it alone. After the fight, he calmly walks over to him. The girl begins crying and shouting at the criminals, warning them that someone in her family is part of a gang and they will pay for what happened. Alonzo tells her to calm down and leave for home. Jack wants to take her to the police station to file a report, but Alonzo shows no interest. After the girl leaves, Alonzo searches the criminals and takes some cash and drugs. He slams one criminal against a fence, pulls out a dagger, and scares him for fun. Jack feels uncomfortable but stays quiet. Alonzo then pulls a gun, insults the criminal further, and walks off cursing him. Meanwhile, Jake finds the girl's wallet on the ground and picks it up. Alonzo uses the moment to give Jake another lesson. He tells him that focusing on small crimes like this is pointless for someone in the narcotics division. To give Jack a taste of real police work, Alonzo takes him to a rough neighborhood. As planned, Jack pretends to be an addict to lure out a dealer. A man in a wheelchair named Blue spots Alonzo and quickly tries to escape. Jack catches him and finds a hidden gun, but there are no drugs. Alonzo then uses a pencil to make Blue vomit, revealing the swallowed drugs. Fearing a long prison sentence, Blue gives up information about his associate, Kevin Sandman Miller, who is currently in prison. After hearing the name, Alonzo tells Jack to release Blue. Jack disagrees with Alonzo's unlawful tactics, but he still respects the way Alonzo always manages to stay in control. Alonzo contacts someone and takes more information about Sandman. After that, Alonzo and Jack head to Sandman's house. Jack, now visibly confused but still following orders, is astonished to learn they will use a fake search warrant to get inside Jack, keeps Sandman's wife and young nephew in one room while Alonzo searches the house. Once they are done, Sandman's wife realizes that Alonzo has stolen $40,000 from her home. She screams for help, alerting nearby gang members. Gunfire erupts as Alonzo and Jack run back to their car. Alonzo returns fire into the streets, while Jack, frightened, struggles to start the car and drive them away. Once they escape, Jack furiously scolds Alonzo for being so reckless. He says shooting in a residential area and stealing money, these actions aren't acceptable. He realizes that working under Alonzo might get him into serious trouble. Alonzo defends his actions by claiming he is doing more good this way than by following the protocols. He insists that the kind of criminals they deal with are ruthless, and to beat them, one must use their own illegal methods. After that, they both visit Alonzo's wife, Sarah, and their young son. They live in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods of Los Angeles. It's deep in gang territory, where nearly 80% of the residents make a living selling drugs. Jake spends time with Alonzo's son playing games with him. After spending time at home, Alonzo goes with Jack to meet with 3 powerful and corrupt police officials. They are referred to as the 3 wise men, including Stan Gursky, Doug Rosselli, and Lou Jacobs. They bring up some serious trouble Alonzo got into during a recent trip to Las Vegas. They suggest Alonzo leave the town to avoid consequences. Alonzo insists everything is under control and shares his plan with them. Later, Alonzo and Jack join 4 other narcotics officers to arrest a drug dealer listed in that warrant. But the surprise comes when the location turns out to be Roger's house, the same retired officer they visited earlier. It turns out that Roger is now selling drugs for income. They enter Roger's house, where they dig up over $4 million of drug money hidden under the floorboards. Alonzo plans to report $2 million as evidence and divide the rest, $2 million, among them. Jack refuses to take any money, but Alonzo reminds him that his involvement alone already makes him guilty. After that, Alonzo pressures Jack to shoot Roger, promising him a permanent spot in the narcotics division. But Jake doesn't agree, and Alonzo shoots Roger himself. At that moment, it becomes clear to Jack that the other officers are also corrupt and support Alonzo's plan. Alonzo announces they will cover up the killing by making it look like Roger refused to cooperate. Jake refuses to take part in their illegal operation. Alonzo mocks him and makes threats about how the media would report Jack's death if something happened during the operation. When Jake grabs Alonzo's shotgun in self-defense, a tense standoff begins between him and the other officers. To push Jake into cooperating, Alonzo brings up the cannabis laced with phencyclidine that Jake was forced to smoke earlier. He tells Jake that he could easily falsify a test result and make it seem like Jake was using drugs on duty. Jake, realizing that everything happening now was planned from the start, feels trapped. With no other way out, Jack silently accepts his fate. Worried for both his life and his job, he finally gives in and agrees to help cover up Roger's murder. Back in the car, Jack tells Alonzo he wants to leave the narcotics division. He doesn't want to be part of this corrupt team anymore. He thinks it's better to go back to being a regular cop, writing tickets and handling small cases, than to stay in this corrupted unit. Alonzo tries to convince him, telling Jack that being scared in the beginning is normal. But over time, they learn to accept how things really work. Alonzo believes they are heroes because they took down the city's worst drug dealer and thinks justice is served. However, not in the usual way. Alonzo explains that his subordinates don't have leadership qualities. That's why he treats Jake like a son. He brings him to his wife Sarah's house and even introduces him to important underworld bosses. He claims he values Jack and wants to train him to be his successor. Later that evening, Alonzo takes Jake to the home of Smiley, a member of the Sereno gang, under the excuse of running an errand. Alonzo steps away to use the bathroom, leaving Jake with Smiley and other gang members. Jake is visibly uncomfortable, but joins them in a game while waiting. During the game, Smiley reveals the full story behind Alonzo's problems in Las Vegas. Alonzo had killed a man who turned out to be a high-ranking member of the Russian mafia. Now, Alonzo must pay the Russians $1 million by midnight or face death. Jake quickly realizes that the entire day, including all the dangerous tasks and stolen money, was orchestrated by Alonzo just to gather enough cash to save his own life. Suddenly, Jake realizes and understands Alonzo has left him behind on purpose. Alonzo has paid Smiley to kill Jake. Removing the last witness to his crimes, Jake fights back, but is soon overpowered. The gang drags him to the bathroom to be executed. As they prepare to kill him, one of the gang members searches Jake's pockets and finds the wallet belonging to the girl Jake had saved earlier. The mood suddenly changes. The gang, now curious, questions Jake about where he got the wallet. Jake explains how he had stopped two men from assaulting the girl earlier in the day. The gang confirms the story with Smiley's cousin, who turns out to be the girl Jake rescued. Satisfied and touched by Jake's actions, Smiley lets him go. Respecting Jake for his honesty and bravery, Jake heads straight to Sarah's house, where Alonzo is staying. He arrives to arrest him, but Alonzo resists, and a violent gunfight breaks out. The fight becomes more intense and soon moves outside, continuing in the middle of the street where everyone can see it. Jake eventually gains the upper hand and subdues Alonzo. The noise draws attention, and soon the entire neighborhood gathers to watch what's happening. Desperate, Alonzo tries to manipulate the crowd by offering money to anyone who would kill Jake, but instead of stepping in, the spectators stay silent, showing they have no respect left for Alonzo. They see Jake as a good cop standing up against a man who has misused his power for personal gain. Jake and Alonzo face off one last time, a final clash between two very different ways of seeing the world. The crowd makes their choice clear by refusing to help Alonzo. One man even points a gun at Alonzo, giving Jake the chance to walk away safely with the money. Jake plans to use it as evidence of Alonzo's crimes. Alonzo, now humiliated and out of time, yells threats at the crowd. But no one takes him seriously anymore. His power, his control, and his influence have completely vanished. Jake leaves from there, taking the money with him. Later, Alonzo attempts to flee Los Angeles through the airport. But before he can get away, the Russian mafia intercepts his car. In a swift and brutal attack, they ambush him and shoot his car with bullets, killing him on the spot. On the other hand, Jake finally returns home. As he comes out of his car and enters through his door, the TV plays a breaking news report announcing Alonzo's death.